Hi, Grandma Debbie here. So tonight for dinner, we're making Monte Cristo sandwiches and smashed potatoes. Now, I hope I pronounced the sandwich correct, but if I didn't, I apologize. I've never made those before. I've never even had them before, but they've always intrigued me, and I thought, why not make one then? You know, and then maybe next time I see it on the menu at a restaurant, I'll purchase it or I'll order it and see what I think of it. See if it's the same as what I made. I don't know. But it's always intrigued me. So we're going to get started. We're going to get started with the potatoes first because they take the longest time. And mainly because you have to boil them and stuff. So we're going to get started on those and then we're going to get going on dinner. Okay, so for the potatoes, I got my saucepan here, and all I'm going to do is I'm using small potatoes that I purchased from Sam's, and I'm just going to grab a bunch of the little potatoes, and I'm going to throw one away. Now there's different colors of potatoes in here, so I'm going to try and get a variety, but it's mainly red. I'm going to do one more of the... Okay, so I have no idea how many potatoes I have here, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse these off, and then I'm going to start boiling them. Okay, so I rinsed the potatoes, put them in the pan. They're covered in water. They're completely submerged. And then I'm going to add a ton of salt. I'm going to do about a tablespoon. That's probably about right. All right, so I'm going to get this on the stovetop. They're going to boil. Once they come to a boil, you're going to boil them for 20 minutes, possibly 25. You want them to be really soft. All right, so I'm going to get doing that. Okay, while the potatoes are boiling, we're going to go ahead and make the sandwich dipping sauce. Now, I got the recipe from this book. It's the America's Secret Recipe. This is Bennigan's Baked Monte Cristo sandwich. Sorry. So this is going to be, I don't know if it's generally done in the oven. Is it? I don't know. All right. So we're going to do a couple things. So you're going to start off with 2 tablespoons of milk. Whoa, almost. Almost sent this flying. Now you can use whatever kind of milk you want to use. I'm using whole milk. Then you're going to do 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. And then we're doing half a cup of sour cream. Now I am going to measure. Sometimes I just eyeball, but my first time making this recipe, I want to make for sure I do it correct. So I'm measuring it out. Excuse me, got a little tickle in my throat today. All right, so now let me know if you've made this before and if I'm doing it correct. All right, so we're just going to mix this up. You know what, let me grab a whisk. Yeah, that's working out much better. And then we're going to chill this in the refrigerator until we're ready to serve. Now, I've heard that some people use over their sandwiches, they'll put some syrup or they'll put powdered sugar. I don't know. That sounds a little odd to me. So if you've ever had it, how would you serve it and how would you eat it? It's intriguing. I don't know. All right, so here's what the sauce looks like. So I'm going to get this in the refrigerator, and the potatoes are still cooking away, so we're going to get going on other things. Well, at this point, I realized that my mic had gone out. I didn't charge up the battery, and so they died on me. So what I'm getting ready to do, I'm put some parchment paper down on a cookie sheet. I drain the potatoes and I rinse them. I did cool them just a little bit, but not too much. And then I added some olive oil onto the parchment paper and I spreaded it up with my hands just to get it all over the parchment paper. And I didn't measure out the olive oil. I just poured it on. So that's what I would recommend that you do. Then I added the potatoes to the parchment paper. And once I did that, I started rolling them around so that they were covered in the olive oil. And then after I did that, I got out my potato masher and I started to mash them. Now, I realized quickly that the masher was going all the way through the potatoes, which I did not want them to do. I just wanted them smashed just slightly. So I got out a large spoon and I started smashing them with the spoon. The spoon worked better than the potato masher. So, and I'm trying to think of when I've done this in the past. I do believe I used a spoon and not my potato masher. So I highly recommend that that's what you use. So once they were mashed or smashed, I added some onion powder and garlic powder and a little bit of salt. I didn't measure that either. I eyeballed everything and I seasoned to what I wanted on my potatoes. You can use whatever seasoning you want. You don't have to use what I used. Now during this time I was preheating my oven to 450 degrees. The recipe that most recipes say 425. I always go up to 450 because I want them a little more crispier. So I preheated my oven to 450 degrees, and then once it was heated, I put them in the oven and I cooked them for 25 to 30 minutes. I believe I actually kept them in there for 30 minutes. So that's just a thought. So, you do what you need to do, but that's how I did it. All right. So sorry about the interruption on the video. Well, I did also forget a step. So before I put them into the oven, I actually drizzled on a little more olive oil over the top because I really wanted them to be extra crispy. So that is a very important step, so don't forget it. Okay, so we're going to get started on the sandwich portion. What I'm going to do is in this pie pan, I've got 2/3 cup milk. I'm going to add 3 eggs. And a packet of soup mix. And we're going to mix this up until it's all mixed together. And while we're doing that, I have a dish that I have 3 tablespoons of butter in, and I'm going to get this in the oven so that it can melt. The butter can melt. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're going to continue on mixing this up. Okay, got that done. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, we're going to assemble our sandwiches. I'm just doing 2 sandwiches. The recipe says to make 4. I'm just doing 2. So we're going to add turkey, and we're going to add cheese. Now it doesn't say how to assemble the sandwiches. So I'm going to add, it says to use Swiss cheese. So I have Swiss cheese that we get from the grocery store. Well, of course. So I'm just going to add a piece of Swiss cheese. I might cut this off, kind of assemble it a little bit, and do the same thing over here. So we get cheese in every bite. All right, and now we're going to do turkey. I just got oven roasted turkey breast. So I'm just going to add a couple pieces of turkey. I think I might do one more piece for each one. Then I'm going to put the tops on. All right, let me go check the check on the pan with the butter. I'll move these over here. Okay, it's all melted. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the bread to the egg mixture. Put it in the pan. Make a mess. And then it says to add the remainder egg mixture over for the sandwiches, making for sure that you get the onion goodies on top of the sandwiches. All right, you're gonna make a huge mess. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. Actually, also I'm gonna spread out the. Okay, this is going to go into a 450-degree oven for 5 minutes. I'm going to flip them over, cook them until they're brown, for however long that takes. Okay, so the potatoes are done. They're nice and crispy and they're smelling delicious, and I can't wait to have one. The sandwiches are still in the oven, so I'm just going to move these off to the side so they stay warm. All right, so I just got these sandwiches out of the oven. They've been in there a little longer, I think, than what they were supposed to be. I'm not impressed, so I don't know if I would order these at a restaurant. I did kind of Google it. Well, my husband did. And generally you cook this, you either deep fry them or you cook them on the stovetop. This one was an oven one. And I don't know. I think if I make this again, and that's a big if, I would probably do this in a skillet on top of the stove. I don't think I would do it in the oven. So we're going to eat what we can of it. We'll probably just eat the centers and call it good. We got our potatoes. So I'm not impressed. To me, this was a failure, but you know, maybe you have some ideas that I don't know about, and you can share those ideas on how to do this. Because I don't know what I did wrong. I followed the instructions, so not impressed. So at the last minute, I decided I was going to add one more sandwich into this video. So this one, though, is an easy Monte Cristo sandwich. Can't even talk. And it's done a lot different than the one that's already on this video. This one is done in a skillet, and it's done with ham and not turkey, so it's a little different. And I wasn't impressed with the last one, but I think I'm going to be impressed with this one. All right, so we're going to get going, and I'm going to bring you along with me on this. All right, let's get going. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to slightly beat an egg. So I just have one egg here, and this is just going to make one sandwich. So I'm just going to beat the egg. All right, so we got that done. And then we're going to spread some butter on our bread. And let's see. And I'm going to add butter to my pan. And I don't know why they wanted me to add it to the bread unless that was supposed to be the centerpiece, which is a possibility. All right. So now with the bread, I'm going to add a piece of cheese. You're using American cheese. I'm adding 2 slices of ham. I'm adding another piece of cheese. And then I'm adding the bread on top, like that. So you have a sandwich. All right. Now, let me turn this thing on. Kind of regulate the heat there a little bit. Okay. Now, we're going to take our bread and we're going to dip it into the egg mixture on both sides. You could probably do this in a pie pan as well, but this is what it's looking like. All right, so once this is melted, we're going to put our sandwich in the pan, and we're going to cook it until it's nice and crispy on the on one side. Then we're going to flip it. I'm going to wash my hands real quick. All right. We're just going to add that there, and we're going to let it cook until it is ready to be flipped. So far pretty easy, right? It's not taking any time at all. It's cooking pretty nicely. Kind of reminds me of a stuffed French toast, right? Doesn't it remind you of that a little bit? So you just want it golden brown on the other side, on each side before you, or on the side before you flip it. I don't even know what I'm talking about. That's looking good. All right, let's flip it and see how we're doing. Whoa. That side's nice and crispy. I might turn it back over though. There's a few spots that I think need to be cooked a little more. Do you see it? It's kind of right in here. Now the other one that I did went into the oven. And I kept thinking that seemed a little odd to me because I thought they always went on a griddle or a skillet or something. So that definitely seemed odd to me, but I don't know. All right, let's turn this over again and get the area that I think needs to be cooked. All right, how's it looking? I think it's looking good. Okay, I think it's done. Let's turn this off. And get it on our plate. All right, I'm going to cut into this. I might let it cool for a moment because it's really hot. But this is what it looks like so far. Okay, so I finished the sandwich and I let it cool, and this is what it looks like. Doesn't that look good? It smells wonderful, so I'm looking forward to trying it. So, once again, this is really going to be great. Try it. It's a super simple recipe. All right, so I just want to thank you for coming along with me on this adventure. I've done 2 sandwiches. I don't generally do 2 things in one video, but this one I think needed it because I was not impressed with the last sandwich. So I needed a redo, and I did a redo, and I'm impressed with this one. All right, well, I hope that you're having an amazing day. Everything's going great. Hit the like, hit the share, and hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.